It's currently Inktober, the month of ink drawing, so I want to do an Inktober video showing my whole process for one of my Inktober pieces. A few videos ago I did an Inktober prep video, and I kind of went through and planned out all of my Inktober pieces, and I did a bunch of thumbnails, and I only did it for about half of the month. But today is the 12th, which means I'm doing the prompt dragon, which I think is really fun, and I've been looking forward to doing this illustration. I saw something similar once of like a dragon, like, you know, it's like a big dragon wrapping around like some structure. I feel like that happens a lot, but I wanted to do this sort of thing for Inktober. It's like in a tree and there's a house in the tree, so the dragon's like around the tree, if that makes sense. So I also wanted to talk about the materials that I use for Inktober. So I use different things. This one is a pigment liner. It's 5mm. It's just like a black pen. I don't use it for any particular reason. It just has a lot of ink in it because it's pretty new. So I like to use things that aren't just going to dry out on me like all my old microns. There's a smaller size too. I use a white gel pen to fix mistakes. It might not be the best way to fix mistakes, but that's what I use because I plan to scan all my Inktober and put it in a zine. So since they're not really going to be sold as originals, I don't mind that this white might not fit the white of the page because I can always edit that out before I print the zine. I also use a Pentel Pocket brush pen, which I thought was really expensive, but it's not. So if you want to grab one, I'll put a link in the description, not sponsored at all, but this is a really popular inking pen. It has like, I think it's like nylon bristles with ink cartridges inside. You can replace them or you can even refill them if you want to, and it just allows you to get more energetic lines. But sometimes I like the blockiness of these pigment liners, the felt tip pens. I also use a red pencil to sketch underneath just for continuity. I always use red. And you can always edit this out in Photoshop by selecting just the red and erasing it, so that's why I use a color and not a gray pencil, because the gray could be like the same color as the black ink in some areas, and I just an eraser if I need it. This is pretty much all that I use. And I'll show you a flip through of what I've done so far, or I'll show you just some of the days I've done. You can go check them out on my Instagram. Most of them just look like this. I'm going to be doing day 12 here, which is the dragon. So I always like to go back and make sure I have like a picture of my thumbnail so I can reference it while I draw, and I pull up references as I need them. So before I sketch this is actually a good opportunity to mention this video's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community. They have thousands of classes covering all different types of skills, and especially creative skills. And they have a premium membership, and this gives you unlimited access to all of the classes. So you can join in and learn all about the skills that you want to learn. It's a great place to fuel your curiosity and your creativity because you can look up any kind of class that you might be curious about or skill that you want to tackle. So now for the class that is actually I found really useful is ink drawing techniques, brush, nib, and pen style. I skipped directly to the part in this class where she talked about textures and how to like actually ink your sketches, because that's what I've been doing for Inktober. And Skillshare is also very affordable, especially when you compare it to taking like actual in-person art classes, because the annual subscription is less than $10 per month. So because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, you can actually get a 2-month free trial to Skillshare with the link in my description. So if you want to check out the class I just mentioned, it's actually, I think it's really valuable if you're doing Inktober. So thanks so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. They've been a continued supporter of me, and I really appreciate it because it helps me out a lot being self-employed and a student. So thank you so much to Skillshare. And on to doing my sketch. So keeping that in mind, I don't want to do the sketch like too tight, but you can also go into like complicated areas and tighten them up. And the areas that you're more confident in, you don't have to draw in every single sketch line. I think I've kind of been doing that a little bit with Inktober, just like as a time saver, because I don't want to sketch it all really nicely, then ink it all, because it's just going to take too much time. And Inktober is all about doing a drawing a day. I try not to get too heavy-handed with the sketch, even though sometimes it's kind of hard to not do that, because I when I start to get unsure about something, for some reason I draw darker, and that's like counterproductive, so I try to not do that for these. So that's the house. The dragon is up here. That comes in front of the tree and goes behind it. The idea of living on a tree, I just think that's, well, I wouldn't want to do that personally, but I like to draw things like that. Whenever I draw really long dragons like this, I never know like if I should put feet, if I want this dragon to have feet or not. Did I make it standing on the house in the sketch? I don't know if that would be good or not. Also, while I'm just sketching this in, the way I actually like post my Inktober sketches is I just use the lights I film with. I get my iPad and I try to find a good angle where it doesn't have too much glare, but even if it does, I'll just take it into Procreate and I play with the levels, and if there's little splotches on the page, I'll just like cover them up. And if some of the ink is really shiny in one area, I'll darken it. I'll just like paint over it and darken it to make it look like a scan. And that's how I do it. I want to make sure the dragon gets thin enough as it goes away. I also want this tree to look cooler than normal. Like I want the leaves to look nice. My whole like Pinterest recommendations is all like fall stuff. By the way, I would not recommend Pinterest. Like Pinterest isn't the best place for artwork because people tend to just like steal things and share them around. But I do like it for just like finding inspiration. I think I also had like some hills in the tree, which is a little strange. Okay, so it's also important to not have too many tangents, which I think is like something I never realized before like art school. So see how this tree branch meets like this and then the tail also touches there? You don't want that. It makes it really confusing to look at. So a good thing to do maybe would to be bring that branch down and then the tail can come out like that. Should I have more than one dragon? Should I have more? I used to be afraid to draw dragons. Like I used to see the word dragon and think, oh, there's something I've never drawn and they seem so hard to draw. But now I'm like, you can draw whatever dragon you want. It doesn't have to be like the big, dramatic, beastly, scaly claws dragon. It can be a cute little dragon. A slim, like a little small dragon. I like drawing those. Now that just made it look weird. I think giving it horns also makes it look more dragon-y. Should I have more than one dragon? I'm feeling like I should. I think it would balance it nicely. But they can be like different. And his tail can come over there. So it's kind of symmetrical, but also not really. Another thing that is so hard is balancing the values. And I might even, just for this one, take it into Procreate and try to figure out where I want the darks and the lights, because, or I might even do that on the thumbnail actually. I think that would be a good place to do it. Maybe I'll do that now. Okay, so there's the thumbnail. So I want to figure out where I want the darks and the lights to be. So I'm going to use this brush pen, the Pentel Pocket brush pen like I mentioned before. I'm thinking of having the light just come from this direction, so I'd have the underside of the tree be dark, this part of the dragon. The occasional like leaf texture so it doesn't just look like clouds. Part of Inktober though is to just kind of jump in and do it and not worry too much, but it's hard to not worry because I want to make a zine out of these, so I want it to be nice. I don't know if this works, but I think that's kind of the gist of it, and I just wanted to make sure it wouldn't look weird, so I'm gonna do that one. Maybe these dragons just won't have legs, they're just like serpent type of dragons. Dragon spirits? I don't know what that would be called. Yeah, that looks a little cooler. This could be like hills with grass on them. I don't know, I feel like this kind of illustration has been done before. I'm always worried I'm gonna like accidentally copy something without even like knowing that it existed, so. Now, it's time to decide which kind of inking I want to do for this. And I want to just use this, but it's so small, I don't know. I might use this and try to make it look cooler than just like basic lines. I find when you make lines not like overlap each other too much, it can look a little cleaner. I think I need my smaller one. There's just so many different ways to ink something. I'm just letting myself do it a little differently each day. And you gotta like take it slow, like step back from it, look at it from a distance, see how the whole thing is working as you go. You can still get some variation of line even if you're not using a brush pen. So I wanted this side of the dragon to be darker. So I'm gonna do some like intricate little lines to kind of make it dark. It's also good to not be afraid to just drop in pure black in some areas, or really, really dense hatching. I've had my camera on the wrong setting this entire time. Hopefully the footage looks better now. I like giving trees kind of like a circular quality to them. I think it's also good to not treat every area the same, so that each area looks different, so you can use different types of hatching, different thicknesses of lines, different like weights between the thick and the thin. Some people don't really recommend these kinds of pens, but I think they have, like, they can be used in a nice way. I don't think just because you can't control the thickness doesn't mean that it's automatically like not a good tool to use. It's also kind of tempting as you go on to like get lazier with your strokes, but I try to not do that. And sometimes if you have a really dense area of line work, it's helpful to just go into the area that's lighter and just do like a little bit, just like a little touch of the hatching or shading. I want the dragons to have most of the focus, and the house, I guess. So the tree, I'm not gonna make the leaves be too detailed. I'm just gonna let them be these like loose, scraggly shapes. I think I've been learning a lot about ink and kind of like discovering, like I never thought I was an intricate line art person. I've just never done that. I'm never into that. I always liked the way it looked, but with this Inktober, I'm just having so much fun. Just like digging in and just like going to town on the details of the inking lines. And I think this might be something I might do more often. I just don't know if I would ever be able to do an illustration like this bigger. I think I would go insane if I had to do something bigger than this, because it would take so long. So I mentioned before that I plan to put all my Inktober stuff in like a little book, a little art book. I'm probably going to have pre-orders available sometime near the end of the month. I don't know exactly when they will be ready. Probably sometime in November, that would be my guess. So keep an eye out for that. If all goes according to plan, I will have a little printed book of these, because I've always wanted a little art book, and I think this was just the perfect opportunity. But I'm kind of crazy to be doing this while I have school. But the workload isn't too bad right now. It's manageable. I just need to get on track. As you get to the end of an Inktober drawing, I feel like it's really easy to start overworking it and adding stuff where you don't need to add stuff. So I'm gonna try my best to not do that. I think I need my smaller, oh, this is the smaller one. Never mind. Wait, did I have this one? Yeah, this one did come out behind here, the other dragon's tail. Just add that in. I'm trying to make this more readable by like squinting and looking at it, seeing how it reads, and darkening some areas and making some forms more clear, because there's a lot of areas that you're like, what am I looking at? What is that? So that's pretty much it for this Inktober drawing. I really enjoy the process of these, just like slowly adding the black lines. It's just a very relaxing process, and also kind of stressful because I think the readability of this isn't as strong as it could be. I might tweak it later, but I'm okay with how it turned out for now. And I like the little smoke I gave the dragons. I didn't overdo it with the lines there, because I think the most important part is like here, and then you see them and their tails kind of bring you down and the lines bring you back up. I had a lot of fun with this one. If you're doing Inktober also, I wish you luck, and I hope the rest of Inktober you feel inspired and creative, or at least motivated to accomplish what you want to accomplish, and I hope I will be able to do that as well. So make sure you also check out my Patreon, because every month I send out exclusive prints and stickers and little like research journal pages, which is a series I'm doing right now, that only get printed once, so they never get printed again. So if you want to grab the next month's package, you have a little bit until the end of October to grab it. I haven't made it yet, but just like a early warning, it's like that every single month. If you want to grab some exclusive stuff that I don't sell anywhere else. And I also have a shop, as I mention every time. So make sure you subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed filming this. It was a nice change to just like zone in and do some inking lines for Inktober. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed creating this illustration, and I'll see you in my next video.